All right. Get rolling, Dan. Good. Cool.
Assess what you saw from Dylan in tough weather conditions and everything this week.
Yeah, I think it starts with taking care of the football. Difference in that game and that weather was our ability to have great ball security. Starts with the quarterback and the center on the exchanges. I thought all of our skilled players, the guys that were handling the ball, did a great job of taking great pride in that. And that was the difference in the game, really, at the end of it, right? You look at numbers and all that, it's equal. And then you look at the turnover battle, and our defense and special teams forced a bunch, and our guys were able to take care of it, and we could capitalize on two of them. And but for Dylan individually to manage the game in tough conditions, especially there early, to have, there were some plays there that he's probably not throwing it because you get a ball that's wet, and he made the right decision to take care of it. So whether it was extending plays with his legs or, scrambling and but proud of him in that manner. It's not an easy situation in your third start to play in that first half environment, but his ability to continue to make good decisions, take care of the ball, will give us a chance.
What was your experience with Mike Vrabel like last year?
Yeah, really positive. Obviously, he was in the tight end room there for the first couple months he was here, and he and I bonded really probably when we were at the Greenbrier. Like, we were in the same office for the whole time there and really connected. I think we see the game in a similar light. There's some mutual people we've both worked with or know that probably helped, form that bond, but really appreciative of his guidance and, still a young coach. And, he's been in the league for a long time, both as a player and coach. So for myself to be around him was really positive and, happy for him and where he's at now. And excited to see him. Texted with him a few times this week, and throughout the season we've kept in touch. So really think highly of Rees and excited to coach against them.
On film, is his influence obvious?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, they're sound and they're disciplined. They play tough. I mean, those are all he has that demeanor to him. You can see his personality shining through with how they play. It's very similar to how they played when he was in Tennessee. It's very similar to how they played when he was a player. So I think you see the influence of his, coaching background and as a player. So they're a good football team. They're going to do a lot of things to not beat themselves, and we'll have our work cut out for us.
It's so unusual to have two quarterbacks that are rookies, 1 and 2.
Yeah.
Can you explain how a challenge it is to develop two rookie quarterbacks at the same time?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, especially when you're getting one, you got to get a rookie ready to play in the games to help your team, and then you want to continue to develop because the other one's a snap away. So we're all hands on deck. I would say it's a total group effort. Kevin, myself, Musgrave, it's all hands on deck to try to make sure both are ready to play. You have to maximize opportunities, even if there aren't a ton of reps to go around. You got to be creative with how you create some extra reps, specifically to get Shador ready if you can't get a bunch of reps there. So the good news is both guys are bought in and doing a good job of working hard and understanding how important those opportunities are, to be ready for the team. So it is a unique situation. I don't know how many times it's probably happened, but probably not a lot. And we have the right two guys mentally right now in their demeanor and how they're prepping and how they're coming to work every day. I think we've put together a good plan, starting with Kevin and then pouring through the rest of the staff to make sure that those guys feel prepared to go play on Sunday.
About the unique ways that you're getting even Shador ready to play, because we heard yesterday that Dylan's getting all the first team reps now.
Yep.
We know about the post practice reps and stuff like that, but is there anything maybe during the week that you guys are doing that we don't know that's kind of unique to make sure that he's ready to play as well?
Yeah, I'd rather keep probably those in-house, just some of the tactics there. But, there's a lot of walkthrough reps that go around. There's a lot of learning opportunities that go around. There's reps built into practice that are still game plan reps that might not be with the first group all the time. So definitely using all the resources we have to make sure that we maximize them.
Kind of playing in that room in terms of helping both of those guys, with what they need.
Yeah, I mean, he's played in this league. He's been around, some really good players and has a wealth of knowledge. I think he's been fundamental in the opportunities where he can kind of offer some guidance, offer some thoughts. And I would also say, Deshaun's been great in look, he's played a long time, and his relationship with Dylan's really been positive. You know, he goes out of his way to help him talk through some coverages, talk through things that he sees. And I think both Bailey and Deshaun, just the ebbs and flows, the ups and downs of playing the position in this league and like what comes with it. I think as much as anything, those guys help two young players manage the day-to-day of being an NFL quarterback, both guys that have played at early points in their career. And I think their perspective and guidance on that is really important.
What are you seeing on film from them in terms of their run defense, and what about the fact that they haven't allowed a 50-yard rusher yet this season?
Yeah, they limit explosives, right? Their secondary tackles well. They do a great job up front with movement and creating some penetrators and canceling gaps. And, you know, they're fundamentally sound. They're not very often in a disadvantaged point of defense. So all of our guys got to buy into the run game. You know, it takes all 11 to be successful there. You know, and we got to continue to find ways to be good in that area of the field and find ways to be explosive because they've limited that. Like you look at no 50-yard rushers, a lot of that has been limiting explosive runs. I think they only have 2 or 3 plus 10-yard runs throughout the season. Some of those are scrambles. They're not even designed runs. So as you look at it, it's a group effort. They do a good job of, you know, being structurally sound and making sure that they have gap integrity, and then their secondary tackles well to get guys on the ground to limit those.
And for Dylan to stretch the field, get the ball downfield a little more. He's only, I think, the longest, like 24-yard pass.
Yeah. Hopefully a dry day would help start that off. But we just got to trust it. We got to put him in the right spots to, you know, see the coverage, trust what he's seeing, let it go. That starts with us as coaches. We got to put him in the right positions. We got to put him in the right positions during the week to make sure he has confidence in those plays. And then, you know, he's throughout camp, throughout the preseason, he was not trigger shy on that stuff. I still don't think he is. We just got to give him the right looks and make sure that we're preparing him to trust those things and see him and let him go.
You have a young quarterback like Shador that's still kind of coming up the learning curve. Does that change your strategy or philosophy when you have an end-of-game situation where the game is well in hand? Might you be a little less inclined to put him into a game like last week just because you maybe want his first opportunity to be under better circumstances? Or
yeah, I think part of it's, you know, you're starting a rookie who you want to have those experiences as well. So, you know, Kevin obviously makes those decisions, and we talk through a lot of those. And, you know, there'll be opportunities moving forward, I'm sure. But, yeah, we'll evaluate that as it comes. You know, I think you want to, as a young quarterback, you want to put guys in really positive situations where they can build confidence and continue to look for those opportunities. But Shador's working hard, doing what we're asking him, and he knows he needs to be ready at a moment's notice.
It seems like we're seeing that that insert motion, and I noticed you guys did that a little bit last week with Jerry. Why is that becoming such like an info? You know, every year it seems like there's like new motions. Like last year, a couple of years back, there's cheat motion. But why this year maybe is that such an info motion that people are using?
You know, there's certain guys you need to account for in the run game that are hard to get to. So, you know, putting people in position to get to those guys is important. And obviously you see it across the league. You see things off of it, but don't want to go too much into it. So, yeah.
It's been so start and stop with him, and I know he's out of the protocol practice yesterday. Do you see any frustration out of him, and then how nice would it be to get some kind of run with him?
Yeah, some continuity would be great, right? I think we've talked about in here all year, like you can get 5 guys playing together. That tremendously helps your offensive line's execution and the comfort between him and the guard and the communication that goes up with him and the tight end next to him. Like all those things add up and matter. So, yeah, I mean, he's certainly frustrated with, you know, some of the injuries that have taken place, and he wants to be out there and excited to get him back, and hopefully can keep everybody healthy and keep the line going in the right direction. Thanks.
How's it going? Good.
It's going to be like, what do you guys expect going against a Mike Vrabel coach team, and how cool is it for you to, after spending so much time throughout your career with him and last year and everything, to go up against him?
Yeah, I mean, Mike has really been I would say, a guy that I've looked up to since I was a rookie, both as a player and now as a coach. Really good relationship with Mike. Have learned a lot from him and continue to learn from him a lot. Have gone against him quite a bit. Obviously, when he was in Tennessee and I was in Indy, he does a really good job with his team. I mean, Mike Vrabel is what football is all about. It's always going to be a team that is hardworking, physical, disciplined, smart. And that's pretty much how they operate on all three of their units.
Touted you for a head coaching opportunity someday. I know how much you guys respect each other. So what was it like to hear something like that from him?
I just think that I just have so much respect for him and how he's really just like the same guy all the time, regardless of what's going on, player, coach. He sets an example for how things are supposed to be done. Like, I just remember times like whenever we were back in New England and he's taking every rep defensively in practice, and then he'd come over and run scout team free safety, and he'd play on special teams, and I'm playing wing on punt, and he's lined up at tackle in his 10th season in the NFL, in the season where he actually made the Pro Bowl. So just stuff like that. You just respect a guy that's willing to do anything for the team, and he's obviously a tremendous coach.
You said you've learned a lot from Mike. Is there one thing in particular that you've kind of become like a central tenet for you that's from some of those lessons you learned from him?
I honestly think it's just be true to who you are, honestly, and I think people respect that. I think that the hard work and the toughness, both physically and mentally, that he's shown throughout his career, both as a player and as a coach, he really is a true. I mean, he and Brewski were the two guys that I learned so much from up there. Rodney Harrison as well, but him and Brew, they were like coaches on the field. So just being able to see that at a young age and just take that with me throughout the rest of my career.
What did he bring to you guys here last year? Didn't he leave some of that mark on the Browns?
Well, I think that's the thing with Mike is he sets that example. Like, he's willing to do anything. Like, last year he comes here in that quote consultant role. He's really helping out the offense, and he's running the scout team punt return unit for me and helping me coach the half line punt. So just, and putting on the whatever the pad is where guys are learning and developing how to strike on punts, stuff like that. You just don't see people do that.
When you go up against a team like the Patriots that have two rookies in their placement team, does that give you any more reason to study and focus to see if there's an edge you can make on those snaps?
Yeah, the kicker's done a nice job. Obviously looked at the snapper in the pre-draft process. Both of those guys have done a nice job to this point. Look, the guy that is a huge problem is 41, Schooler. That guy is everywhere. He's the best in the league. It's crazy. So they go from having the best special teamer in NFL history and Matt Slater, who should be a first ballot Hall of Famer, to that now they have the next best special teamer in the league in Brendan Schooler.
This past week, just what did you think of that play Grant had to punch the ball out and obviously Rayshon recovering it too?
I think in the game it was a big shift in momentum. Not that we didn't have the momentum at the time, but it just gave us even more momentum. So it's 10-3, we're kicking off, forced the fumble, and able to, go down and convert and score a touchdown. Now you're up 2 scores and 17-3. It just gave us a lot of momentum in the game.
A guy like Grant, though, who he talks about how meaningful special teams
Yeah.
is. I mean, he's a vet in that room, but
We've gotten good contributions from guys like Grant. Starters just willing to do anything it takes. Him and Jank really. Devin Bush has done a good job for us. So credit to those guys that are selfless and doing anything they can to help our team out.
Going off of that, Grant also said that he takes pride in not only special teams but also making plays for a coach like you. How have you, built that relationship with all those guys on special teams? How important is that to you?
Yeah, when you say that, I kind of get chills a little bit, honestly, because I feel like, I think that's like the most important part about my job is being able to build relationships and develop players and see their development over their careers. I know I've said that before, but having a relationship outside of football, getting to know these guys. Like I see Grant's mom at every game. I'm always like saying hi to her whenever she's on the sideline pregame, stuff like that. So he's a special kid and he's a really good football player.
Development factor. You have your hands in so many rookies getting special teams work and things like that. To have a guy like Grant, a veteran, what does that do in shaping and helping the development of the younger guys who are watching him along?
Yeah, I mean it parallels what I was just talking about with Vrabel. How at a young age you're seeing a guy that's in his I don't even know what year this is for Grant, probably like his 5th or 6th, 7th, whatever it is. You're seeing a guy that is a defensive starter that's a Pro Bowl caliber like player at his position, factoring, for us in multiple phases. A young guy. Young undrafted guy, he's going to see Grant Delpit setting the example and just be like, wow, this guy's willing to do anything it takes. So you just get that, and it just trickles on down.
Kicking in that stadium or playing in that stadium because you've been there
Yeah.
and played many times before. Has it changed any since they closed that up?
To my recollection, probably hasn't changed a ton. It's a tough place to kick. The weather's never good there. It looks like the weather might be decent for our game, but who knows? We just played in some weather and some elements this past weekend, so I think that was a good thing for us.
Rayshawn, what impact have you seen him have, whether it's in your unit or just overall across the team and on that defense?
Yeah, I think. Well, the thing with Rayshawn is he's a true professional. He really is. He's been in the league a long time. He played in college. He played a lot in the kicking game, so he's familiar with those techniques and he's done it for quite a while. The thing also with him is he's a super smart kid, and he can play a lot of different things because he is physical and he's got good size, so he can match up against bigger body types at times. But like I said, he's guys like that. He and Grant, they're just whatever you ask them to do, they're willing to do it. Thanks.